UFC Fight Night Royval versus Taira is this Saturday. We've got your full fight card breakdown and a little bit of betting sprinkled in. Coming right up. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the 10-7 MMA. I'm your boy DS, and I'm here with my guy, Dino Bam Bam.
DS, what it do?
What it do, baby? How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right, man. I was just bumping some J. Cole. I was in a little bit of a throwback mood, and now we're doing this. We're doing the full card breakdown for UFC Fight Night, Royval versus Taira. So I'm having a good time, brother.
Bingo. That's what we're here to do. I will say this card is noticeably younger than last week's card, which was just a bunch of pensioners, essentially. But we've got 13 fights on the docket. Before we dive right into that, why don't you tell the people what they need to hear?
Hey, thank you, Dino. Thank you for passing that off so eloquently, my guy. Now, guys, if you're enjoying the content or you have enjoyed previous content, go ahead and do us a little favor. Down there, there's a little thumbs up button. Hit that. Hit the subscribe button and ring the damn bell. DS. Guys, that's the sound of the bell. When you ring it, it makes that sound. It notifies us, and it gives us this good feeling inside. You know, it makes me happy when the subscriber count goes up. So if you want to see us happy, fucking do that. You can also follow us on Instagram at the 10-7MMA, like the little scrolling thing at the bottom says to do. We got pictures with us and fighters and memes and shit like that. So give you boys a follow. Hook us up with a sub. DS, I'm excited about this card. It's not phenomenal, but it's a pretty damn good card, and some questions are going to get answered about this 125-pound division.
Absolutely. Obviously, the main event's exciting. We've got a couple newcomers that should be fun too. But let's dive right into it. Like I said, 13 fights on the table, starting with two big boys, Junior Tafa, brother of Justin Tafa, and he's taking on newcomer to the UFC and relative newcomer to MMA, Sharaf.
Hey, all right. So Junior Tafa, Dino, you mentioned his brother Justin Tafa. They're pretty much fucking, they're interchangeable, right? Last time out, Justin's Tafa pulled out. What is that?
Justin's better.
Yeah, Justin's definitely the better of the two brothers. I hate saying that, but it is what it is. Justin pulled out, Junior steps in, Junior pulls out, Justin steps in. They got each other's back, which is what brothers do. I would have your back, DS. Just letting you know, okay?
Likewise, brother.
All right. Now, Junior Tafa, dangerous striker. He's got real knockout power. He looks like what he is. You look at this guy, he's a big fucking Samoan guy. He comes from the kickboxing world. Is he going to have the greatest gas tank in the world? Is he going to be Charles Oliveira level of jiu-jitsu? No, he's not going to fucking be that. He's going to be a slugger with knockout power. He's been working on the boxing. The hands have looked pretty damn good. He's facing UFC debutant and newcomer Sharaf, who I believe took this fight yesterday. So like 4 days notice. He's got knockout power. He's a fucking tank of a man. He gets his fights finished pretty damn quickly. He's a first round knockout kind of guy. He has a lack of experience in this one, right? Junior Tafa, not really a very seasoned MMA guy, but in this one, he's definitely going to be the more, the more experienced fighter, let's say, in the octagon. I think Tafa needs to avoid the big shots early, and if he does that, Dino, I don't see why he would lose to this guy. Give me Junior Tafa getting into the second round, which is rare, and getting a finish there, which is more rare.
Yeah, I don't see it, bro. I don't see it. Obviously, it's tough to know a lot about Sharaf. All we know is that in his 4 MMA fights, they've all ended by brutal first-round knockout. Was he at Ryzen? Was that him that I was looking at, or was that somebody else?
Let me see exactly where he came from.
No, sorry, LXF and Fight Club. So, he's fighting nobodies, right? Like, one of the guys that he fought was literally his first fight. He lost. Another guy was 0-0. The guy was 3-1-1, right? So these aren't high-level opponents by any means. He's taking this fight on very short notice, and he's a big-ass boy, right? He's a big dude for heavyweight. He's got a little fat on him, too, let's be honest. But this guy, I think his striking actually looks kind of refined in the 3 total minutes that I've seen him in the or in the ring, in the octagon, whatever you want to call it. He's got wild power. And honestly, I want to see Junior Tafa, get knocked out at this point because of how he talked to Volker Walker's wife and shit after the last fight. I lost a lot of respect for him there. And also it kind of showed me that maybe he's mentally weak, right? So I don't know. Sharaf is a newcomer, bro. This guy has nothing to lose. He's going to come out like a bat out of hell. Justin Tafa, he's supposed to be the more refined striker here. There's no way this fight goes to the ground, in my opinion, unless, let's say Junior Tafa gets clipped or something like that. But look, we don't know much about this guy. He's got a ton of power. I think maybe it's wishful thinking. I want to see Tafa get knocked out. But I'm going to go with Sharaf, first round knockout here.
Yeah, and look, Junior Tafa definitely deserves it, Dino, after that fucking disgusting ass post-fight that happened. And also Sharaf, for what it's worth, training out of Extreme Couture, a lot of people there have a lot of good things to say about him. So he's at a huge gym. There's a chance that this guy is the real deal. But, I've just been kind of like hesitant with these new heavyweights. They usually come in and they're not at all who we thought they were, because heavyweights in general are dog shit, and especially out of the UFC. Like, it's like fucking terrible, like slim pickings out there for real heavyweights.
There's a good chance that all Tafa has to do here is not get knocked the fuck out in the first round.
Right.
And he might cruise to a win, right? We just don't know. Yeah. But
let's find out.
Yeah, I'm still going with Sharaf first round KO for me.
Let's get it. This fight ends like quickly though.
Oh, smash the under on this. If it's a round and a half, smash the under on this.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Next fight is Cory McKenna. She is taking on Julia Polastri at 115. I guess I will take this one. Polastri's coming on short notice here. This was supposed to be Cory McKenna versus Polyana Viana, which I would have taken Polyana Viana there. I'm not a big Cory McKenna guy. I think you might like her a little bit more than I do, if I recall the last time that we broke it down. She got a really short reach, only 58-inch reach. She does do a nice job kind of getting inside, though, and stringing together combinations with her hands. Overall, though, I do like the striking of Polastri better. I just think she utilizes her kicks more, has some nice head kicks. She's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage here. I just like her better on the feet. I expect this fight to play out on the feet. If it does go to the ground, I actually give the edge to Julia Polastri there as well, personally. So, for me, I'm going with the bigger fighter. Even though she's coming in on short notice, I just respect her striking more. To me, she passes the eye test more. Smash the overs on this for sure. If you're going to be betting anything, I don't know that I would put my money on it, but I am taking Julia Polastri by decision.
All right, two things you're wrong about there, Dino. Number one, I don't love Cory McKenna. I don't know where the fuck you pulled this narrative from. She's all right. She's all right.
I thought last time we broke her down, you were like, you picked her. Yeah, but Amarine.
I could have picked her. I'm maybe I did pick her. I don't remember, but I'm sure I wasn't like, fuck, bro. Cory McKenna. She's the next Nunes.
I don't think it was like that, but I feel like you did make like a comment though, like, man, like, she's better than you think she is, bro. Like some shit like that.
Bro, I be saying shit. If there's anything that the people watching this, and especially you, should know, sometimes I just say shit. Regardless, though, the second thing you're wrong about, I'm picking Cory McKenna. If she's my fucking girl, I'm gonna pick her, I guess, right? So Cory McKenna, I look, while I do think Julia is good on the ground, right? Maybe there's this narrative out there that she's not very good on the ground. She's got really good jiu-jitsu skills. I just think this is gonna be your boring, typical women's MMA fight where it's just gonna be slow paced and kind of dragged out. And I think Cory McKenna's wrestling is gonna be the difference. I think it's just gonna be takedown, hold up against the cage, and just kind of ride out 5 minutes every round. So I will take, I guess, this newly christened my girl in Cory McKenna. I'm taking her by decision, of course.
From Wales, of all places.
Right.
All right, moving on. Next fight, we've got Dan Argueta. He is taking on Cody Haddon at 135. What do you think about this one?
So now we're actually delving into someone that used to be a my boy, Dan Argueta. Still like Dan Argueta.
But he's no longer. You've unchristened him.
I've unchristened him. Cory McKenna in, Dan Argueta out. Breaking fucking news. Look, I still think Dan Argueta's wrestling it's amazing, right? And we've kind of seen this resurgence, I would say, of wrestling as of late, with Merab winning the title and just kind of like,
sadly, yeah,
Bilal winning the title, even though he did a better job with the striking in that fight against Leon. But wrestling's coming back. It's all the rage, and Dan Argueta is fucking relentless when it comes to the wrestling and the grappling. Like, he is going to shoot takedowns. He's going to get takedowns, and he's just really damn aggressive, man. It's not the fact that he just goes for takedowns. It's the style in which he goes for them. It is really, really damn aggressive. That's the word for it. His striking is improving. It's still not like good level UFC striking, but it is getting there. Cody Haddon, he's a dynamic striker. He's got good footwork, good combos. He likes to keep the fight standing, and he's definitely going to want to do that against Dan Argueta. He's going to be the faster fighter on the feet, that's for sure. He probably has more power, but his grappling defense is less refined, right? So this is striker versus grappler at the end of the day. Dan Argueta at plus 155 is a little wild to me in this one. I would think he would be a slight favorite. So I am going to go Dan Argueta. I just feel like his relentless pace, Dino, is going to get this fight to the ground, and that's his world. So give me Dan Argueta, the Chicago boy, by decision.
Okay. Yeah, you pretty much said it, man. It's wrestler versus a boxer, essentially. Cody Haddon, junior champion boxer, some of the cleanest, most beautiful boxing in the division, I would say, truthfully. Super clean, super technical. His only loss came in 2021 to Steve Erceg. You might know him as title challenger Steve Erceg, somebody who put up an actually decent fight. And he didn't get finished by Steve Erceg, and Steve Erceg was cleaning out the regional scene at that point. So, look, I mean, Dan Argueta is pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of his style, for obvious reasons, I guess. I just really like the boxing of Haddon, and I don't think Argueta is going to have anything for him on the feet. I am nervous. I'm not confident about this one. I think this should be a pick-me, or honestly, I think maybe Argueta should be the favorite here. I thought he would be when I saw the fight made. But look, I mean, Haddon has some wins by submission too, right? His last 2 wins are actually by submission. He got a rear naked choke win on the Contender Series. And I'm just not a huge fan of Argueta, man. Maybe that's some personal bias there, but I'm going to take Cody Haddon by decision. I'm letting you know now, I have a shit ton of decisions on this card.
So do I. And then 2 things of note. Cody Haddon, I believe, I could be wrong, I think he is the first fighter from this year's Dancing with the Stars, Dana White's Contender Series, to actually be making his UFC debut. So that's pretty cool. And then you mentioned Steve Erceg, and I just mentioned Dancing with the Stars. Did you happen to see Dana White's Contender Series yesterday?
No.
The first fight was these 2 flyweights, both guys from Australia, which is a fucking nightmare. You fly these 2 guys out across the world to fight each other.
Right. They could have done it at home and sent it the tape.
And I know one of them had beaten Steve Erceg, and I think the other one had fought Steve Erceg. And the guy who won that fight was the only person that wasn't picked for the UFC by Dana. Man, they were fucking terrible. Those guys really sucked. So yeah. It kind of gave me a shittier outlook on Steve Erceg.
Okay. All right. That sounds good, man.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next fight. It's JSP Jonathan Pearce. He's taking on Pat Sabatini at 145, of course. This is an interesting fight, man. Both these guys are great on the ground, right? But they're kind of different. Jonathan Pearce is a really good wrestler. I give the submission edge to Pat Sabatini. He's very dangerous on the ground. He's more the finisher on the ground, I would say. JSP has a propensity for landing takedowns. So it's interesting. Are we going to see JSP get the takedown and then maybe land some damage, but Pat Sabatini being the one threatening the submissions? Maybe. For me, I think JSP is just better on the feet. I don't think he has a ton of power or anything like that, but I just think he's a little bit more refined on the feet, and he's continuing to improve in that aspect. Pat Sabatini's not really good on the feet at all, in my opinion. So I just don't like what I've seen from him in the striking realm, and I just trust JSP. I just think there's a little bit of a tier break there, and I'm going to go JSP by decision here.
Yeah, perfectly broken down. I kind of see it the same way. Definitely more of a Pat Sabatini fan than I am a JSP fan. But, man, JSP looks good. He's got the little fucking charging port tattoo or whatever it is, and that's cool, I guess.
He's the plug.
He's a damn. You think that's what it is? I'm the plug.
Probably.
Look, his wrestling it's really fucking good.
Shout out Big X the plug, brother, by the way.
There it is. Yeah, I'm with you. JSP should win this fight. He is better on the feet than Pat Sabatini. He's the better wrestler, whereas Pat Sabatini is probably the better all-around grappler. I would hate to count him out, so I think these odds are kind of perfect, man. Minus 135, not too big of a favorite. If you're leaning Pat Sabatini, you love to see plus money in this fight. I think it is damn near a coin flip, so Vegas did a good job. Just based on what I've seen, man, Pearce's pressure, I think it's just going to allow him to win this fight. I don't see him finishing Pat Sabatini. So yeah,
smash the overs on this too, for sure.
Give me JSP by decision. This should be a fun fight if you're a grappling fan.
Yeah, should be high level stuff for sure. By the way, I think this is the first time ever that I can remember that we've disagreed on the first 3 fights. We're 4 fights in. That was the first one that we agreed on.
That's pretty cool.
Moving on. Next fight on the card, we've got CJ Vergara. Excuse the fuck out of me. He's taking on Ramazan Temirov, another line of in the long line at this point, or getting longer, of Uzbek fighters coming into the UFC. Ramazan Temirov taking on CJ Vergara. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think we're probably going to fucking disagree again, DS, because look, let's start with CJ Vergara. He's known for just being like a tough, wild dude, right? Like a good striker, tough as hell, good boxing skills, but he's super down to engage in brawls. So he's dangerous, but he's also always in danger. Decent cardio allows him to maintain like a super high pace in the fights. His grappling is kind of his weakness, right? The defensive grappling, anyways. He can be taken down. He can kind of be held down. And then I guess the other weakness would be that tendency to get drawn into brawls, something he's not going to want to do against Ramazan Temirov. Well-rounded fighter, a really good grappler, as you would expect with the OV. But he is a good striker as well, man. He does a good job, Dino, at mixing it up, right? I know that sounds cliche, but like he's not one of those guys where it's like very obvious that he's only doing this stand-up shit for a minute or two just to get the takedown. He is actually a well-rounded fighter who is willing to just mix it up in any fashion that the fight gets thrown to him. He sometimes struggles against guys that are, like pushing the pace. And that's what I think CJ Vergara is going to do. He's obviously the more experienced in terms of high level MMA. We've seen him in some wars in the UFC, and I just think he knows that he's going to have to push the pace in this one. So I do see CJ Vergara winning the first 2 rounds and then getting in some dicey ass situation in the third, but ultimately pulling it off. So give me CJ Vergara 29-28.
Yeah. Man, that's interesting because I don't really see Vergara as somebody who pushes a high pace. I think he's great off his back foot, and he's in it for the long run. He absolutely can do long fights, and like you said, we've seen him in some wars, but I don't really think that he's the one that's usually pushing the pace. I feel like it's rare for me to see him. I feel like he's good in any kind of pace. Like he's willing to go with the flow, but I don't know. I don't really see him setting the tone. I think the tone will be more set by Ramazan Temirov here. Look, this guy's coming off 3 straight knockouts. I want to say he's coming. This is the guy that's coming from Ryzen. He's not as good of a he doesn't use his wrestling as much as a lot of these other guys with the last name ending in OV at all, right? This guy wants to come over and steamroll you on the feet. I just don't think he's going to do that to CJ Vergara. I think these odds are crazy. I'll be honest with you there. I almost went with CJ Vergara too, man. I really did. I just think that at some point, Vergara's getting older too, right? I mean, he's not like super old, but he's 33. God damn, he's younger than me too. He's 33, right? And it's at 125. I mean, the lifespan sadly is shorter at these weight classes. And man, I mean, Ramazan Temirov is only 27 at this point. He's hungry. He comes in and he's a goddamn steamroller. I think we're going to see CJ Vergara dropped a couple times in this fight, but I don't think he gets finished. He's never been finished. He's never been knocked out. I'm sorry. But I'm going to go with Ramazan Temirov by 29-28 decision. I'm just going the other way.
All right. So the question mark with this guy, Dino, is the question mark with everybody that comes over from that region of the world, right? Like this East Asia, like Eurasia type, type area. Who the fuck are they facing? Yes, Ryzen. Great promotion.
I forgot to mention, I actually do have that written down. Yes, the record is certainly a little bit padded, right? There's no way that every single one of these guys comes in at like 80-something% win percentage and like 20 fights already, and they've won like 17 to 19 of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right. So the Ryzen guys, my point is the Ryzen guys, yes, legit fights, legit guys. But outside of that, I mean, like you look at the names, you look at the records, and it's like those, who the fuck are those guys? But maybe. You never know. It's always a crapshoot with these kind of guys, and I guess we'll see. But I think this will be a fun fight.
I agree. It has the potential to be fight of the night because, I mean, It could be a war. So, All right, let's move on. Next fight of the night, we've got Clayton Carpenter. He is taking on Lucas. Is it Roca?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is a wild one, man, right? This is a wild one mostly because of the presence of Lucas Roca, because this dude is only 24 years old. And he already has 18 fights to his record, 17 of them which he's won, right? So he's got some real knockout power, man, and he loves a brawl, right? My thing with him is he is still very raw. He's still, yes, he's had a lot of fights, but you can see his age and I don't know if it's like he needs better coaching or what. He's got raw talent for sure. He's got power. He's got serious knockout power. There are definitely some holes in his game though, right? So, to me, that's the question, right? Is Clayton Carpenter going to be able to withstand, not getting knocked out in the first round? Clayton Carpenter is a decent striker too, right? Both these guys are coming off long layoffs, so there is a little bit of an unknown there. So do with that what you will. When it comes to the ground, though, Lucas Roca, I mean, even I think it was on his Contender Series fight, he ended up winning it, but he was held down on the ground for basically the entire first round. Clayton Carpenter is going to be the better wrestler, the better grappler overall. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm counting on here. I expect Lucas Roca to be on his back for a decent portion of this fight. And I don't know if he has the technique to be able to get out of it for the most part. Now, of course, he's always live for a knockout. So, that's why the odds are where they are, in my opinion. I think they could even be a little bit closer. I'm leaning Carpenter by decision at this point, but man, Roca by first round knockout, might be worth a sprinkle.
Yeah, Roca by knockout is definitely, a possible outcome. And you did a good job breaking him down, right? He's really aggressive. He has stupid power, stupid finishing ability.
One thing that Clayton Carpenter, like this guy, at all costs, Clayton Carpenter cannot get into like a phone booth brawl with this guy. That'll be the worst thing he can do.
Right, and yeah, and I don't think he's gonna do that. I'm a big fan of Clayton Carpenter, man. Ever since I saw him in the LFA and then on the Contender Series, this kid is legit as fuck. And then you hear his story on Dancing with the Stars, Dana White's Contender Series, and the kid's just been a winner, and he's been fighting forever in different things, right? Like Taekwondo champion and like a jiu-jitsu champion and like all this shit. He's done like all the martial arts, and now he's actually just
he's like a whiz kid.
Yeah, so that's who Clayton Carpenter is supposed to be. It's been about a year since we've seen him. Really quickly, let's take a look. I think his last fight was in February of 2023, so a year and a half, damn near. I expect this kid to have gotten significantly better. He was scheduled to face Steve Erceg for what that's worth. That's the second time we're mentioning this fucking guy. But yeah, I just believe in Clayton Carpenter, Dino. I don't know if it's a bias thing. I just really think this kid is going to be something big in the promotion. And I think if he gets this fight to the ground, it's going to be his world. And I think he will take it to the ground and find a submission in round dos. So I'm going Clayton Carpenter, RNC round 2.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that too. That's all that I thought that was live too for sure. So there's a couple ways that I could see this fight ending. I mean, Roca too, what again, there's a little bit of unknown. We haven't seen these guys in a minute either. So but all right, let's move on. Next fight, we've got Niko Price, and the odds are shocking a little bit on this one to me, but Niko Price versus Themba Gorimbo. Take it away, brother.
Shout out Themba Gorimbo. That's our boy. Can you give it to him one time? Say it.
Themba Gorimbo.
Hey, and his brother?
Fremd Gorimbo.
Shout out Fremd Gorimbo.
Has he made his debut yet?
Huh?
Has he made his debut yet?
Man, not yet, bro. We've been waiting. I'm still waiting. So we'll see who signs him, because a kid like that, a prospect like that, shouldn't be fighting in bullshit leagues.
That should have been one of our guys in the fucking what's it called?
Damn, in the thing.
Yeah.
In the game, I feel that. All right, Dino. Yes, these odds are a little surprising. First, we have Niko, the hybrid Price. Guys, if you've been watching MMA, if you've been watching the UFC for any amount of time now, you definitely know who Niko Price is. It looked like he was on his way out, right? He got knocked out by Phil Rowe, and then we were there at UFC 290. He got knocked the fuck out by Robbie Lawler in like 30 seconds with a punch that didn't look like it landed at all.
One of my favorite UFC moments of all time.
Yeah, it was badass. He got knocked the fuck out, and I was like, all right, this guy's done. Then he goes out there and he beats Alex Morono. An impressive win for him. I still think Niko Price is a guy that's just on his way out of the UFC, right? Like, hurts me to say it because I feel like everybody's a Niko Price fan, but that's just how I feel about him, man. He seems chinny now. He's definitely like, the older, more used up fighter of these two. And Themba Gorimbo,
he looks like an old 35, man.
That's what I'm saying. And he's taking on Themba Gorimbo, who has been a fucking buzzsaw pretty much since he entered the UFC. Lost his first fight, but then he's been on a 3-fight winning streak. 2 of them not very exciting, but he's done a good job at like promoting himself and talking afterwards. And he won that like UFC Humanitarian of the Year award. Not that fucking matters in the fight, but Themba Gorimbo, just a good grappler, Dino, some good power. A kid that really just believes in himself, man. So I think this is a crossroads fight. I think it's two guys like going in the opposite direction in terms of their MMA career. So I have to take Themba Gorimbo in this one. It seems like free cheese at minus 280. But of course, I say that, and then Niko Price pulls it out. But I'll fucking take Themba Gorimbo by decision, and that's like just what you got to take.
Yeah, I'm taking the same thing. Themba by decision. I don't trust the cardio of Niko Price. He looked bad in the Morono fight. The cardio, I mean, both their cardio looked bad, to be honest with you. And we're going to talk about Alex Morono next. But yeah, Themba Gorimbo has one of the strongest whys he fights, right? This dude didn't even have food to eat not that long ago, right? Very inspiring story for what it's worth. But now he has proper nutrition, right? He's at the PI and all this stuff. So, that might sound silly, but man, I think we're going to see him continue to improve. He's not a spring chicken either. I think he's 33. But yeah, Niko badly needs this win. I just don't see it, man. I think the only chance that he has is like maybe he's tough as hell. Don't get me wrong, right? Yeah. But the only chance that he has really for me is if he just moves forward. Themba does not love fighting off his back foot. I will tell you that. So I think Niko's best bet is to put the pressure on, but I don't think he has the cardio to keep that up the whole fight. So Themba's dangerous in the clinch. Yes, he can be a little bit boring, to be quite honest with you. Like, you look at his physique and his length, and you would think he'd be like the sick-ass striker, but he's more like lay and pray and land some strikes on top, and he's not really a finisher either. So Themba Gorimbo, easy pick here by decision. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, he's like building water wells, and The Rock's giving him fucking houses and shit, so that's cool.
The Rock says...
What does he say, DS? What does The Rock say?
Okay. Finally. All right. Next fight of the night. We've got D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. He is taking on Alex Morono. Yeah, I was just talking about Alex Morono, right? Kind of pretty similar to Niko Price, quite frankly. I've never been a huge fan of his. He's just kind of awkward. So I understand that he poses a threat with his kind of awkward style. He's got some nice straight 1-2s that he does a lot of damage with. And because of his awkward stance, he's able to land those at a pretty high pace. I respect that, right? I just think D-Rod is just better, man. I know D-Rod's 37 years old at this point, almost 38. So he's going to be 4 years older at this point. But he's going to be the bigger guy. He's got 2 inches of reach. He's just a much better boxer. He should be the stronger guy. Now, Alex Morono is very dangerous on the ground, right? So, D-Rod hasn't looked like amazing either. He certainly looks like he's lost a little bit of a step. But look at the last 3 guys that he lost to. Kelvin Gastelum, Ian Machado, Gary, Neil Magny in 2022 when Neil Magny still had a little bit of something. Alex Morono is just not all that, man. So, for me, I'm taking D-Rod. I don't think he'll be able to get the finish here. I just don't really see that. Alex Morono is tough too, but I'm taking D-Rod by decision.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you, Dino. These are 2 dudes that I don't necessarily love. Alex Morono, for whatever reason, I just never liked them as well. I think beating Cowboy at the beginning of his little 4 or 5 fight win streak that he had really bothered me because everybody loves Cowboy Cerrone. And then Daniel Rodriguez, I got a personal grudge with. He cost me $25K on the Parleezy that one time. It is what it is, man. D-Rod, to me, Dino, I think he's just the better of the 2 here. Morono is awesome, man. I think he's an underrated guy, 21 fights in the UFC. He's a vet. He's well-rounded, good boxing, good grappling, as you would expect. But I just think Daniel Rodriguez is a little more threatening, and I think Daniel Rodriguez is just going to be the more crisp and dangerous, powerful guy in this matchup. I don't see a finish happening either way in this one. So, yeah, D-Rod by decision kind of seems like a no-brainer to me. I'm pretty confident in this one. I will be betting it. Hopefully, D-Rod can make up for a little bit of that $25K.
Hopefully. All right, moving on. Next fight, we've got Josh Fremd. He is taking on Abdul Razak Alhassan. What do you think about this one?
Super fucking weird fight, this one, to be honest with you, Dino. Odds super close, and I get it because this is one that I flip-flopped on a few times. Right when I saw it booked, I was like, Josh Fremd. Josh Fremd is going to take him down. He's going to beat him. Then I was like, well, Abdul Razak Alhassan's got stupid fucking power. He's going to put his ass out. And I just been kind of flip-flopping between those 2. Abdul Razak Alhassan, older than you would think. He doesn't look the part and he doesn't really fight the part, but he's definitely getting on in age. So he probably belonged more on last week's card than this one. but he's an explosive striker, Dino. Stupid power. He's dangerous as hell. Super damn dangerous everywhere the fight goes.
4-1 round.
Yeah, especially early is what I was going to say, because then he starts to fade. Good Muay Thai fighter, dangerous sub skills, it seems like. Super powerful kicks, bro. They make a fucking sound. You hear those shits through the TV. On the other side, it's his cardio and his grappling in terms of his weaknesses, right? Like, he can be taken down, controlled, and kind of dominated on the ground if an opponent knows what they're doing. And that's the problem in this. Josh Fremd is a really fucking good grappler, man. If he gets you down, he uses his long frame. He can control people. So
And he
I
actually
don't know.
throws some strikes that, like, he actually aims to do some damage.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, super fucking weird fight. So it's just really like a 50-50 kind of thing. But the way I'm seeing it playing out is I think Abdul Razak Alhassan will land a powerful shot in round 1 and get himself a TKO finish. That's just how I see it. It could totally be the other way. I'm not touching this one fucking at all unless I'm doing like dude by finish, like his finish. So Josh Fremd by submission or Abdul Razak Alhassan by knockout.
Yeah, man. this is same exact thing, bro. Literally 50-50. This, I'm not betting this whatsoever. It's either Abdul Razak Alhassan is gonna get the knockout in the first round, and it's possible. Josh Fremd has never like super impressed me, but he somehow pulls out wins, man. Like he somehow does it every single goddamn time. And this totally feels like a fight that Josh, like, it just feels like a fight that Josh Fremd is gonna win, right?
Yeah.
I have no fucking idea. This is as 50-50 as it gets to me. I'm gonna go Fremd right now. I actually have Alhassan written down, but because he's fought the better competition and he does have some, wins against better competition, but man, 39 years old, the cardio sucks. Big power, yes, but Josh Fremd, I mean, he's tough to finish, man. I don't know. So I'm leaning Fremd right now by decision, actually. I think the second and third rounds could be very boring. But, 50-50.
I'll say this, Dino. If this was on last week's card at, I was going to say at elevation, is that correct? At altitude, at elevation, whatever?
Yeah.
If it was fucking in Utah or Denver or some shit, I'm 100% going Josh Fremd. He would just need to survive 4 minutes and he would win the fight. But yeah, this just being in Vegas, I don't know. I don't know.
Yep. All right, moving on. Next fight, we've got Chidi and Njokuani. He is taking on Jared Gooden. Man, I miss Chidi and Njokuani. It feels like it's been a while since we've seen him. When is the last time that we've seen him? He fought Reese McKee to a split decision. He needed that win badly. He had 3 losses before that. Man, Chidi and Njokuani is an interesting guy because he has the look, right? He's got the look. He's got power in his hands. He's a great kickboxer, right? He mixes it up. Fantastic kicks to the body, to the head. The thing with Chidi is he gets a little cocky sometimes, and not in the way that he's going to be taunting people and shit like that. It's just like he starts to drop his hands, and his fight IQ just fucking sucks sometimes, right? So, and then Jared Gooden has a shit ton of power, right? I think Chidi and Njokuani is the overall better fighter. Jared Gooden is fucking physically very strong. We've seen him slam people. He's a good wrestler. Chidi and Njokuani, as much as he's a kickboxer, he's not terrible on the ground, right? For me, Jared Gooden's best path to victory here would be to use that wrestling and land big shots on Chidi. We have seen Chidi finish. Again, he makes big mistakes at times. For me, I just think he is the better fighter overall. And, man, if he loses this one, I'm done picking his ass. I'm going to be honest with you. But I am going to pick Chidi for one of the few finishes here. I think we see Jared Gooden start to tire out a little bit in the second round. Chidi does a good job staying, a movement on his back foot, and then lands a couple big shots and gets the TKO finish in round 2. Not super confident, though, I will say.
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking confident in it. I'm picking the exact same thing. I'm going Chidi and Njokuani KO round 2. It's funny, because Jared Gooden is a very solid fighter. He's obviously very athletic. You can tell that just by looking at the guy. He looks powerful. He looks fucking explosive, and he is. Here's the thing, though. If you look at his record and you looked at his Tapology or his Sherdog, whatever you're using, and you go down it, there's like a very, very noticeable difference in the guys he's beating versus the guys he's losing to. Let's just do this really quickly. He beat Wellington Thurman, DeMarcus Jackson, Curtis Millender, Nicholas Stoltza, Jay Jackson, like you know what I'm saying? It's like a very clear level of guy he's beating. But then his losses are to Carlston Harris, Impa Kasanganai, Rude Boy Randy Brown, Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov, Alan Jouban. So like a clear distinction between he's going to lose to these guys, he's going to beat these guys. So like he has a spot in the UFC in that low level. I just think Chidi Njokuani is more these guys than he is these guys. So I got to figure Chidi Njokuani wins this fight. I know we don't pick based off of MMA math, and it usually don't be mathin' when you think it should be mathin', but Jared Gooden, a shit ton of fights, like a whole big ass sample size. And to me, Chidi Njokuani is more the guys that Jared Gooden's going to lose to than the guys he's going to beat. So Chidi Njokuani, Chidi Bang Bang, round 2 KO. We agree fully here on guy and method. I like that.
Love. All right, moving on. Next fight of the night, we have got Grant Dawson. He is taking on Rafa García in another weird matchup, in my opinion. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, pretty weird matchup. Grant Dawson, a weird guy, like a weird dude to match up at 155. We know he's a super strong grappler, really damn good wrestling. He's down there at ATT working with some of the best guys in the world. So he is improving every time we see him, Dino. He's shown great submission ability. He's a super consistent threat on the ground. He's also a guy that, like, how Grant Dawson is going to fight. There's no surprise. There is no, like, the game plan for this fight is different than the game plan for this fight. He's coming to fucking take you down and eventually maybe get a sub or maybe get a decision. But he's taking your ass down and laying on top of you. The striking is like, fuck, it's not that good, man. We saw him knocked out not too long ago by King Bobby Green. That was fucking brutal and surprising. He's taking on Rafa García. Versatile fighter, man. He's pretty good. You know, I think he's an underrated fighter in the UFC. Doesn't really get the credit that he deserves. Good boxing, good pressure, high volume. I like that a lot about him. And he's a solid wrestler for what it's worth. Again, though, with this being Grant Dawson, it's not like your solid wrestling is going to save you. And Rafa García doesn't really have like the nuclear option, to me anyways, to put Grant Dawson out, even though he doesn't seem like he has the greatest chin in the world. I just think Grant Dawson's just going to do what he does, man. Shoot takedowns, shoot fucking takedowns, lay on you for the whole round. Do it again in the second. Do it again in the third. I'll say he gets a finish in the third. Again, I believe he did that last time out. So I'll keep the good times rolling. Give me Grant Dawson by sub, but more than likely a decision.
Yeah, I think Grant Dawson, pretty easy pick here, honestly. I just think, on the feet, he'll be able to hold his own. Rafa García, I don't expect him to have the power that Bobby Green has. Also, the Bobby Green knockout, it felt a little fluky in a way, if that makes sense.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like, sure, obviously it happened. We can't discount that, but Dawson is just so damn good on the ground, man. I see a pretty easy 30-27 for him here.
Yeah, so I'm about it. Grant Dawson pretty much, I want to say he's like the lock of the card for me, but like, fuck, man, like since that knockout, like I just have this little bit of doubt with him, even though I thought he was going to really be something, and he still might be. Might have just been like a little fucking road, like a little road bump or whatever the fuck they're called, speed bump. Who knows?
Yep. We'll see, man. We'll find out. All right, co-main event of the evening. We've got a former my boy, Brad Tavares. He is taking on another my boy, Jun-yong Park. Am I going first on this one? Yeah.
Yes, okay. And Jun-yong Park's name spelled correctly. He's one of the folks who they just be Jun-yong Park with like a U.
Yeah.
Jun-yong Park. It's Jun-yong Park, guys.
Yeah.
Get with the fucking program.
So this is a tough one for me to like project, man, because Brad Tavares is not what he used to be. He's definitely lost a step. He's got good boxing, but he's slow, man. He's not high volume at all at this point. He's got a good chin, I mean, unless you've got a shit ton of power, right? And you've got an awkward style and so on. He's got what he's most known for is probably his takedown defense. So, Jun-yong Park, good on the ground. Jun-yong Park also kind of like crafty on the feet, man, right? He doesn't have like the most power, but very crafty on the feet. I expect him to actually have a speed advantage here, He's only going to be like 3 years younger. You don't think of him as like the epitome of speed or anything like that. Fairly even in size. Brad Tavares is a couple inches in height. This is tough, man, because it's like Is Jun-yong Park going to take him down? I think he's going to struggle to take Brad Tavares down. You know what I mean? But oh, this one is so tough, dude. This one is so tough for me. Like this another one that's straight up 50-50 for me because Brad Tavares has not looked good in a long time, in my opinion. I mean, you know, he had the win versus Chris Weidman, obviously, but that was like a one-legged Chris Weidman who was on his way out, right? Lost to Greg Rodriguez, lost to Bruno Silva, lost to Dricus, as we know. I'm leaning Jun-yong Park, man. You know, I just don't think Brad Tavares is what he used to be. And I think he's just going to outpoint him, quite frankly. I just think he's going to land more shots on the feet, maybe get him down at some point. I just can't really trust Brad Tavares anymore, truthfully.
Yeah, I'm in the same exact boat, DS. I'm taking Jun-yong Park by decision. Very close fight. Like, I get it. Brad Tavares' main strength, like you said, is that takedown defense. And Jun-yong Park, a very, like, a grappler, right? He's well-rounded, but he is pretty much a grappler. I just think Jun-yong Park at this point, he's on a good run, man. I know he lost to Andre Muniz. It was a very close, controversial fight. Before that, he had rattled off 4 in a row. Eric Anders, Ugly Man Joe Holmes, Dennis Tululin, and Albert Duraev. And 3 in a row by finish. Like, he was looking really fucking good up until that fight, and he still looked solid in that one. I just trust Jun-yong Park more at this point than Brad Tavares, even though Brad Tavares has he has fought the better competition. Jun-yong Park
one of the better resumes in the division.
Yeah, in terms of who he's fought. He doesn't beat the good guys, but he's fought them.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, Jun-yong Park by decision. What is that, Diaz?
I apologize. That's what I meant. Yeah, not that he's beaten them, but, you know, in terms of the fighter, the people that he's fought, that,
right.
You know, if you put them all out, like list them all out, it's one of the more impressive, groups of people. Yeah.
It's a wild list of fucking names, that's for sure. But yeah, Jun-yong Park decision. Again, a tough one, though. Like, I'm not super confident in it. You can't be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, main event of the evening, what we've all been waiting for, and a very interesting fight. I'm actually very interested to hear what you have to say about it. It's, of course, Brandon Royval, and he is taking on the undefeated Tatsuro Taira from Japan. Give me your take on this one.
All right, DS, and I think you will be surprised at the end, but let's see what happens.
I feel like I won't.
Let's start with Raw Dog Brandon Royval. Absolute my boy, by the way. One of the nicest folks I've met in this MMA community. Just a nice guy. Raw Dog. He's an exciting flyweight, Dino. That's for sure. He recently fought for the title against Alessandro Pantoja. That did not go his way. He seemed to almost like freeze up in the moment. It seemed like it was a little too big for him. And it just is what it is, man. He's got a really diverse striking arsenal, really powerful kicks, solid boxing. He does a good job, at keeping his opponents guessing. That's what I really like about Brandon Royval's style. There's no like predictability to it. He's not unorthodox in the sense that like a guy like Yuri is, or like an awkward strike. He's not awkward. He's just very unpredictable in what he's doing. Good jiu-jitsu skills, man. We've seen the sub skills on display when the fight hits the ground. Great scrambles, great offense on the ground, great defense on the ground. Nothing to hate about Roy Dog. About Brandon Royval. He's entertaining as shit. And he has taken on Tatsuro Taira, probably the most talked about flyweight contender / prospect in a while. This kid is undefeated. He is exciting as shit. He's a rising star, and he's bringing on that Japanese market. We know the UFC has been kind of making a push into Japan, and they're like all in on this kid. They're kind of giving him the quick push, and I guess he deserves it, man. Super well-rounded, good striker, a very, very, very dangerous grappler. We saw that last time out when he tore Alex Perez's knee in one of the weirdest fucking ways I've ever seen in my life. The thing with Tatsuro Taira, Dino, is he's not as proven, right? Like, yes, Royval only has a couple more fights than he does, but Royval's been fighting the top of this food chain in the UFC for a long time. Tatsuro Taira just got here, man. He looks every bit, as real as it gets, and a big part of me wants to say that Brandon Royval kind of fraud checks him, but I'm not going that route. I do believe in the kid. I think he is next after this fight. I think he fights Pantoja for the title after this. Maybe Pantoja gets a fight in the meantime, but I'll go Tatsuro Taira by decision. Again, fucking really low confidence, but I just think his grappling is going to show. He's going to show that his grappling is a different level, and he's going to show that he's this new breed at flyweight. So, anyways, Tatsuro Taira by decision. I could totally see Raw Dog fucking fraud checking him though.
Yeah, man, I'm having a tough time with it. Truthfully,
Me too, man.
I'm having a tough time with it because Royval, like, okay, first of all, I told myself, like, I think Tatsuro Taira is really good. I think he belongs towards the top of this division. I just don't think that he's like, I don't think he's Royval. I mean, I don't think he's Pantoja level. I don't think he's Morono level, personally, to be honest with you. I think either one of those guys clears him. And I told myself, like, if once he gets to the top, I'm going to pick, if I can get plus money against one of the top guys, I'm going to pick against him. Royval is one of the top guys. He's right after those two that I just mentioned, right? And he's lost to both of them, and he's got some wins. But it's like, God, it's like, for me, it's like what I'm struggling with is like, what is his kryptonite? It's like the thing that he's worst against is a very technical submission artist. And that's what Tatsuro Taira is. Now, Tatsuro Taira, you know, he was concerned. He looked a little bit concerning versus Perez last time because before Perez got hurt, I would say he was kind of losing that fight. So,
he also didn't look phenomenal against Edgar Shirez when we were there. It seemed like a struggle of a fight. And you know what, DS? Hold on, give me 1 second. Fuck it. I'm switching. I'm going Brandon Royval. Official Brandon Royval. I'm switching.
I feel you, man. I'm having a really tough time with it because I absolutely could see Royval landing some shots on him. And then, but like, that's the thing. Like, he's so good on the ground, and Taira is dangerous from literally like pretty much any position. It's like, I could see Royval getting the best of him and winning the first round, maybe winning the second round, or being on the way to win the second round. And then Taira still pulls out a sub out of nowhere, right? And that's like Royval's kryptonite, right? So, fuck, man, I'm having a real tough time with it. But right now, I just think Royval is better. I just think he's a better fighter. But, man, this is another one that's very 50-50 for me. The plus money on Royval is kind of swaying me, too. We'll see what it ends at, plus 165 right now. But give me Royval by decision. I'm sorry. Tough, though. Really, really tough. I absolutely could see Taira with even a late 4th round, 5th round submission, right? So he's the type to do it. It would be better for the division if Taira won, but for now I'm going Royval. I will likely not be betting it.
And that should show you guys how close we think this fight is. And Dino, that should show you how close I think this fight is. That just by saying a couple sentences, I was fucking swayed. Like, I've been thinking Royval is gonna fraud check the guy. But then the more I watch film on Tatsuro Taira, it's like, fuck, he's dangerous, man.
He just pulls it out, man.
Yeah, and he is tough as shit for like a young ass kid. Like,
but he gets hit, dude. He gets hit. Like,
he gets hit.
A lot of these Asian fighters, they don't have great striking defense. That's just what it is, right? So Royval's dangerous. I mean, So that's kind of what's swaying me. But that's all I got for you, brother. That's the whole card for you guys.
All right, awesome. So, hey, fuck it. Raw Dog, Brandon Royval, DS. Nothing else to say to the folks?
Nothing else. We kept that pretty concise, under 50 minutes.
We did keep it concise. And if you guys enjoy being fucking concise, then help us out. Hit us with a little like and fucking subscribe. It's a button. Just fucking press it. It makes me feel happy. It gives me reason. It makes me like, excited. DS, yeah? No? Do you get excited? Period, boo. Anyways, guys. That right there is DS. I fucking got it this time. That right there is DS. My name is Dino Bam Bam. We are the 107 MMA. Follow us on Instagram. Do all that shit. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.